Días. Gracias por estar con nosotros en su programa Café con Leche, la voz de los latinos en América. Estamos transmitiendo desde hermosa 1470 AM, 96.9 FM, caféconlecheradio.com. Les habla Lilia Galindo, me acompaña Thomas Elias en el video. Estamos, él es un analista político que escribe en muchos periódicos del estado de California, en el Antelope Valley Press, 2 veces a la semana. Good morning, Tom. How do you feel today?
Very good. Muy bien.
Muy bien.
And you? How are you?
Very good, very good. Do you know how do you see the new COVID issue, the situation with the COVID?
Well, it's a situation where you don't the new variant, the Omicron. You're only going to get it seriously if you haven't had the booster. The most interesting statistic about the booster shot is that it increases your antibodies by a factor of 10. If you get this one shot, you have 10 times as many antibodies as you did before. You can still get the COVID if you have the booster shot, but it'll be more like a small cold. I have a relative in Florida that has the COVID right now, and she just has a cough, but she tested positive for the COVID, and it's not a serious thing. But the people that you see going into the hospital and into the ICUs, they either have had no vaccination or they haven't had the booster shot. The original 2 shots still give you some protection, but for most people, they're beginning to wear out. You know, you have to. It's like when you get a tetanus booster shot. It's only good for so long, and then you have to get another one. Same with the flu vaccine. You have to get a flu shot every year. They don't last forever. Very few things do last forever. So it's very important to get that 3rd shot. And pretty soon, in another couple of months, they'll be offering the 4th shot. You can be sure. And the 4th shot will be more specifically directed against the Omicron. And then that will almost disappear when we start getting those shots.
Bueno, estamos hablando, amigos, de la vacuna COVID y con el nuevo virus Omicron. Le digo que cómo ve la situación. Dice, bueno, definitivamente las personas que están yendo al hospital todavía son las personas que no se han vacunado, los que recibieron su dosis 1 y 2 del COVID y que ya todavía no han recibido el booster. Lo que va a suceder es que no van a tener toda la protección porque se está desgastando esto, pero parece que este virus del Omicron pues no es tan agresivo, sobre todo si estás vacunado. Por eso, amigos, es que les recomendamos a todo mundo que obtengan sus vacunas y se vacunen ya de inmediato si no lo ha hecho, que se ponga su booster. Dice, él cree que va a haber todavía una 4ª vacuna, porque dice, es como la de la vacuna que tenemos para la gripe, ¿verdad? Que nos las tenemos que poner cada año porque no da inmunidad para siempre. Así es que es lo mismo con el COVID. There are so many cases now in California and in many other places.
Right, because it spreads very fast. But most of those cases aren't very serious. You have to understand. The serious ones, as I said, are people that have not been vaccinated and to some degree, a much lesser degree, people that have not had the booster. If you get the booster, your chances of being hospitalized are 1/10 as much as if you didn't get the booster. And pretty soon we'll have another shot, like I say, that's directed at the Omicron. And then there'll be a new variant, because this virus isn't going away. It's mutating. But it's getting less and less dangerous as it goes along. But if you want to decrease your chances of being hospitalized by 90%, get the booster. Now, one of the worst things that's happened in this whole time was while he was still president and before he got the COVID, Donald Trump kept calling this thing the Kung Flu, which is a way of saying it's a Chinese thing, and he was insulting the Chinese, and also a way of saying that it's no worse than the flu. Then he got the COVID, and by all accounts, he almost died. You remember he was in the hospital for a week at Walter Reed Army Hospital in Washington. Well, once that happened, you haven't heard a peep out of him about the Kung flu. You know, Trump is out there telling his people that he got the shot, the booster too, and that he that they should. And you know what his followers do when he says that? They boo him off the stage.
Oh, no. I can't believe it. Bueno, nos está hablando del expresidente Trump, cómo él enfermó de COVID, porque primero no creía que era una enfermedad seria, que iba a ser como un resfriado, pero finalmente enfermó y luego se puso la vacuna y ahora está hablando que la vacuna de verdad ayuda. Se puso también su booster, porque nos está diciendo Tom que cuando te pones el booster te protege 90% de que vayas al hospital. Dice, y ahora que ya se puso su booster, también está diciendo que se ponga la vacuna, pero dice, pero ahora las gentes que son los que lo apoyan no les gustó ese comentario. Pero sin duda alguna la vacuna, the vaccination, the booster protects you so much that is like if you are really playing with your luck. If you don't have the vaccine, if you haven't get sick, and you continue trying, you are going to get sick, and you are going to go to the hospital and die.
Look, the people are very arrogant, Lilia. I ran into a guy in a grocery store the other day who wasn't wearing a mask, as you're legally required to do in a grocery store. And so I asked him if he'd put on his mask, and he said no, he would not, because he's not going to get this. He said, I'll never get this. This won't touch me. And I said to him, you know, it's fine with me if you want to kill yourself, but I'm not going to let you kill me. And he said, I'll go to hell, you know.
Dice que las personas a veces son muy arrogantes, dice, porque por ejemplo el otro día fui al mercado y me encontré a una persona que no estaba usando su máscara. Le pedí que se la pusiera, por favor, y dijo, no me la voy a poner. A mí ese virus no me va a atacar, no me va a hacer nada. Dice, bueno, no, y que Tom le contestó, bueno, no me importa si te quieres morir, ¿verdad? Pero sí me importa cuidar mi salud, y así es la cosa. We have very few minutes, but I want to ask you, I read an article about your article yesterday, and you were talking about the new, how are they going to build now houses like San Francisco style, that you say instead of houses like we have, they are authorizing to build more units in one.
That's authorized under a new law that Gavin Newsom signed, and that he's very proud of. He listed it the other day among the most important new laws that we have this year. But there is a major campaign building against this, and it may very well be canceled in the next election. There will be an initiative to take away the state's power for this kind of thing. But as it stands, where you have only one house on a lot now, you'll be able to have 6 in the future. And that's going to have, that's like and the city can't stop it. The local authorities can't stop it with their zoning power, because the state has taken away that power. And so it's going to make everything very dense. It'll look like San Francisco or New York. And a lot of people don't want that, including me. You know, I don't want my neighborhood to be that crowded. But, you know, it looks very different now than it did 50 years ago. And, you know, the next 50 years, it may look very different still.
Ajá. Bueno, estamos hablando rápidamente, puso en una columna que salió ayer que los permisos de construcción ahora se están adaptando. Dice que bajo una nueva ley del gobernador Newsom, ahora en un espacio donde tenías una casa, ahora le van a poder poner hasta 6 casas. Dice que esto es posible que cambie, porque se va a querer hacer un estilo San Francisco o New York, cuando la verdad la gente en California no queremos. And do you remember that you used to say that with the COVID everybody was going to stop working in the offices, and that those offices were going to be housing? and nothing has happened. Or are we coming back to work? Do you
That's
know?
not true. A lot has happened.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are staying out of those. And a lot of companies have downsized their offices. There's a huge amount of vacant space. And in point of fact, so far in the state, there are 6,000 permits right now out for converting office space into units. That movement is just now beginning. But if you allow this thing where you can build 6 homes on one lot, you take the steam out of that movement. And you take the emphasis away from it, because the developers could make a lot more money on new units than they can by remodeling.
Pero ya nos queda un minuto. Do you know that Dave Bowen is calling, but we don't have time anymore. It's 8:57 already.
Okay.
Tell him that I'm so sorry. The next time he has to call sooner. But
Talk about housing anytime you'd like. That's one of my favorite.
no, but you know that is then maybe that is going to avoid this new law, because now we have areas to have housing for everybody who needs it. It's going to be declined.
Okay. All right. So I guess that's it.
That's it. But
What joined you today?
tell me your message for the new year. What do you expect for New Year?
I expect that the Democrats will dominate in California, just like they have. The new districts won't matter very much. But I'm afraid the Republicans will win the Congress, even though California will mostly be Democratic. And there won't be much we can do about it. I also think that we're going to have less of the COVID in the second half of this year. I think we're making progress.
Bueno, sus predicciones para el año que entra, dice, yo creo que los demócratas van a ganar California, incluso en el Congreso, pero el Congreso va a ser ganado por los republicanos, dice, y vamos a tener menos COVID porque estamos progresando en esto del COVID. Thank you very much, Tom, and have a happy New Year. Say hello to your wife, please.
Happy New Year, and I hope we all have a great New Year, much nicer than the last one.
It will be.
Okay.
Thank you. Have a nice day.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bueno, se nos acabó el tiempo. Muchas gracias, muchísimas gracias.